Hi, I'm Clay Birkland, host of the local podcast. On this episode, I'll be talking with Ron Jeffries, General Manager of the Black Hills Stock Show, about all the news and happenings at this year's event. Well, Ron, welcome to the local podcast. It's January 15th, 2025, and you're about 48 hours away from kicking the football into play here, are you?
We sure are, you know. As soon as the football gets really good, we go to work.
Yeah. Just for everybody's edification, I do have Ron Jeffries on today with the local podcast. Ron's the general manager of the Black Hills Stock Show. We were talking off air before we started, and I guess that's a good place to start. So we always have to know where we came from, Ron. The stock show's been going on for the bulk of my lifetime, and maybe even as long as your lifetime. I'm not sure, but back us up to how it got started, because I do think that's interesting history.
It is a neat story, you know. The stock show started as a product of the Rapid City Chamber of Commerce,
Yep.
And it was the Ag Committee, and they just wanted a chance to showcase the local cattle. Now, remember, at that time, there was no Robbinsdale area. That was pasture.
Yeah.
You know, you go west, there's pasture all around Rapid City. Not a lot of pasture right here in the immediate area left, but they started showcasing local cattle. 3 breeds came in. 1958, they had the very first meeting in what was Rapid City Laundry. Now it's the Serval building downtown on Main. And had their first meeting in 58, and then the first show was in 1959, and it was called the Black Hills Winter Show. So great little program they started up with. It was over at the fairgrounds entirely. Well, not entirely. They had all the cattle shows and activities at the fairgrounds, but there was a fashion show at Arrowhead. There was a pancake breakfast downtown. Yeah. I mean, there was just lots of stuff going on with the community. And much like it is today, where you have activities throughout the entire area here.
So the original intent of drawing a few people into town has worked over time. Yeah.
You know, and I give a lot of credit going back to, some of our founders of our group that stayed with us for years and years and years. Dick Bray, and Gladys Bray, and Lindell Peterson, 2 guys who were really strong in getting things going and been with us forever and ever. But I've got a guy on my board of directors now by the name of Bob Mills, and he's started coming to Western Junior at the fairgrounds and has been to the stock show almost without fail since 1959.
Wow.
Just constantly coming back out here.
That's a heck of a run.
That's a heck of a run, it is, But lots of, it just has lots of real good support from the ranch community, and we're fortunate that we've got so many good local sponsors that help support it and recognize the economic impact that comes out of this event. So
it ran as the winter show for roughly how long do you have?
So it ran until 66. The chamber, the fair had been pretty much running the program, but the Chamber of Commerce said, our job is to start these programs. Now you guys take it over. So Central States Fair did, and then they changed the name from the Black Hills Winter Show to the Black Hills Stock Show. And so from 66 on, it ran in the Soule building. Now that building is called the Nerdy Nuts building, one of our local sponsors here. But they started in here, and they had giant heaters, like jet engine heaters that they got from Ellsworth on loan. Everybody working together.
Everybody helping, yeah.
That they brought out and put some heat in the barns. But, I imagine, I wasn't at those first shows, but I imagine it was cold enough in that building that, your nose dripped in your coffee when you're looking at the cattle shows,
If you've been to the stock show, it can be 65, and it can also be 65 below with wind chills.
That's right.
Dress accordingly if you're going to be out here. So at that point in time, the fairgrounds was still fairly rural, do you think?
Oh, yeah, we were on the edge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like all fairgrounds that have been in their locations at times. Look at the National Western,
Yeah.
The entire city grew up around it. And that's kind of where we are with Rapid City. There's apartment buildings just across the street from us now that nobody would ever thought would have had anything built over in that spot.
But fast forward a few years and progress does catch up. Yeah.
It does, that's for sure.
And your board now for the stock show is how many people?
So we're a 14-person board,
Yep.
and Central States Fair, Inc. produces both the Central States Fair and the Black Hills Stock Show.
Okay.
And then we run the Pennington County Fairgrounds all year round. And then we're much more like the Monument as a rental facility,
Yep.
but we host a ton of horse events, a lot of barrel racing, team roping, youth rodeo events. We also host a motorcycle series throughout the winter, just a wide variety. We just had the Western South Dakota Fire Convention at the fairgrounds, and that's where they come back in and provide training on like opening cars with the jaws of life, type of stuff. But, it has a lot of uses, and we're we're busy about 330, 30 to 40 days a year with some kind of activity.
So one of the most highly skilled people out there has got to be Paul. He does, I don't know his job, his title has to be like Leatherman, the utility knife that you can do everything with. Between putting on team ropings, barrel races, car races.
Yeah, Paul Nable's just a great guy. He's our head of maintenance, and he's just a phenomenal guy. We couldn't have asked for a guy. Two things. You got to be able to have all the skill sets to get everything done, but then you got to work with literally 1,000 bosses over the course of any given month.
You throw to you a parent.
From
you run the gamut. Yeah.
From everything, and so he's just got the type of personality that he just gets along with people, and he just gets it done. If they ask for it, he says, "I'll take care of it." And what really drives me nuts about Paul is that he never writes anything down. And so I'm always saying, do you have that? He goes, "I got it, Ron. I got it."
It's right up here.
And he does. I can't remember Paul missing anything that we worked on or talked about getting done. He's just a phenomenal hand.
And next year when you do it, he knows what needs to be done ahead of time because he remembers. And I'm working for a raise here for you, Paul.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Paul, Paul's sure darn worth every bit we pay him and more than that. You just don't find many that can come into that event world. And it's a different kind of world because literally it's not –
the pressure is always on from some direction because you got to move the arena around, change a fence, change the bleachers.
It's somebody's wedding. It's another group coming in for another event. It's somebody doing an auction, a family estate auction or something.
Yeah.
And so it's their most important day.
Yeah.
And so we can't slow up on providing the services and taking care of the people because it's not our biggest day.
Right. Yeah, it's just Tuesday for you, but for them it is a very important day. Yeah.
You bet. But a real good crew. Our board is made up of 12 people that are members of Central States Fair. And a membership, it's $25. It's open to really anybody that wants to pay the $25 and then get included in information and upcoming events. There will be some early access to tickets, things like that within our memberships. But that then allows you to run for the board, and then they're elected from our membership. 12 of them are elected, and then we are unique in that we have one city council representative and one county commissioner representative that are full voting members.
But they're appointed by their bodies.
But they're appointed by their bodies. And I think that came about because of some loose financial dealings a number of years ago. And so, but it's really good because it really helps with communication with our two governing bodies, the two governments that oversee the fairgrounds, really, either by city ordinance or by county that owns them. So.
Well, they have a vested interest, both sides, the revenue that is brought into the community by those events being there and then funding back with tax dollars to help those facilities stay up and running. So, that does make a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And really good. It really helps us with good communications.
Yeah. So how active is your board in producing the events? I mean, I've seen them out there lifting panels and doing things they probably didn't want to do.
It depends on the amount of workers available for any given project. But, this is definitely a working board.
Yeah.
I mean, they come and sit in the boardroom and talk about policies and procedures and set goals and things like that. But when it comes time to producing our events, we actually have a skills matrix to target certain board members to provide, like, for instance, Bob Mills, Justin Tupper, Tanner Schilder, all are in that livestock, Roger Porch, all in that livestock category for help there. On the flip side, I've got Jim Hunt. Now, Justin Tupper is the national chairman or national president for U.S. Cattlemen's.
Yep.
Jim
Don't
Hunt,
put him in charge of the fashion show if you still have one, but.
And then Jim Hunt is the national president of the AQHA.
Yep.
So we are really fortunate to have people with a lot of connections serving on our board here locally as volunteers.
Very good national voices that we get to capitalize on here locally. Yeah, that's
it gets us a seat at
hard
the table.
Hard to duplicate.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know that's ever happened with any fair anywhere. It's just so rare that you'd have that. And so we're proud of all of our board members. And we've got representatives from Black Hills Energy and Monument Health, and we've got them right back down to Bob Mills is a cattle producer from Gordon, Nebraska. So we go through everything. Louis Brunson, a rodeo guy that comes back out also at the sale barn, and but he comes back in and provides us all kinds of expertise. That when you're a nonprofit board and you want to get the best advice you can, you look for board members who bring the skills you're looking for.
That conduit to somebody with knowledge is very valuable. Absolutely.
And so in terms of working, they've done everything from help scan tickets and usher and serve food at the VIP tent at the fair, to helping us set up panels, and then running our livestock shows, our horse sales. It's a committee-driven deal. Lots of activity. Lots of I think our horse sale committee has like right around 200 years of experience that we bring to the table. That if you were leaving that between John Kaiser and Paige Vanderwerf for me to figure out, we're far from being anywhere near skilled. But that skill level that those board members bring really is what fashions how our events take place.
Yeah. So when was the rodeo added?
So the rodeos was added in late 70s. And, oddly enough, it was not the very first rodeo at the monument, which was at the time Rushmore Plaza Civic Center.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman by the name of Stan Steen from Billings who came over and produced a rodeo like at Thanksgiving time. And we had contacts with the Sutton Rodeo family and asked what about putting a rodeo on during the stock show, similar to all the rest of the really big shows. Mm-hmm. And the Sutton family, Jim and family agreed. We came over, worked out a contract, produced the first 3 rodeos, and then we moved the entire show from the fairgrounds properties and the Nerding Nuts all up to the monument.
Yep.
And I think that was in 80 or 81
that
it moved up there. But and then that really changed the synergy of the show.
Yeah.
This was just a huge swing, and man, a great move on the part of the board of directors at that time, and a great move by the city of Rapid City to have the building up and available.
Well, I think being the indoor rodeo of the year, I don't know how many times now, is just a testament to the plan was good and it got executed well, and look where it is now.
Yeah, and not only was were they up for Rodeo of the Year repeatedly, and they won it this year. And again, I think it's a 3rd in a row, I think.
I've lost track. It's been good.
It's been so they've done a very good job with producing that rodeo, and it's a what we would call one of the anchors for the show. We've got the Hubbard Feed Supreme Row as an anchor, the rodeo's an anchor, the Cinch Trade Show's an anchor, and then the horse sales an anchor. So you've got all these different anchors that brings people in for different reasons, but there's something literally for everybody to come see and do. You don't have to own 50 head of cows to have a good time at the stock show.
One thing I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, because I think it's a very unique event to the stock show, is the 20X that Sutton's had put on for a long time.
Long time. And that event is a great deal. And I said this about any sport. You don't make it to the NFL by starting to play football in college. Yeah. You got to start them, not even in high school. You got to start them when they're younger, and that's what this 20X program and the junior high rodeos and the Little Britches rodeos, and I think that's what South Dakota's got going for it in terms of producing really good rodeo athletes, is those youth programs.
And I don't know the genesis of that idea, but I think it's the only all-star type event like that for high school rodeo in a lot of states, and it's a big deal for these kids. And they get to compete on Sunday afternoon where the big shots are going to be Thursday night, and there's something to be said for being in that arena and feeling the feeling.
That's exactly right. I mean, dream big, and dream big is when you have it presented to you. This is where I'm going to be in 5 or 8 years. Very
much appreciate Sutton's willing to put that on for years and years, and that's one of the more sold out events, I think, of the entire production.
It draws grandpa and grandma and aunts and uncles and everybody else, the neighbors. It's a really good event.
Well, we're sitting here again January 15th, and I guess 2 days you start doing some stuff. So we probably being this conversation is supposed to be mostly about the events going on at the stock show. We probably should get started on the list, Ron. So hit some highlights for me.
Just a real quick. So the stock show's official dates are January 31 through February 8th. But we've got a number of horse activities that we don't have the time and space and arena time to bring them in during the show. So we start 2 weeks early out at the fairgrounds with events. Yep. And so it starts with Thar's Ranch Sorting, and that starts here the 17th and run the 17th and 19th. And then we go through the South Dakota Cutting Horse Association has a 2-day cutting on the 21st and 23rd. And then the 24th, we start our AQHA Winter Show.
Okay.
And it's a huge show. We get trainers from all over, bringing horses from all over, and really has a good following. Again, part of our connections with the AQHA crew, in addition to Jim Hunt, Dean Johnson was one of the guys that helped bring this stuff in, and he was on the board, one of the boards at the AQHA as well. So we've had real good luck with maintaining people that helped us get things put in place and helped us follow the rules, and if we had problems, they helped straighten us out with them. And that show it starts out on the 24th, and it runs all the way up to Thursday the 30th. and a variety of AQHA events, all open to the public, all free. And then that's the first kickoff for the official dates. We'll have the ribbon cutting at 3 o'clock over at the Monument at the Barnett Arena on the 30th, and then the official dates kick off on Friday.
I guess I like history a lot. When did the event center start being available for use as part of the stock show? When was it completed?
Well, it was built 2004.
Okay.
It was so, and we didn't use it except for overflow, stalling and other things. We didn't really move down here. We were really growing within the footprint of the monument.
Yeah.
And as we added events, again, you run out of space to host it.
Yep.
And so we said, well, let's move. And I remember when we moved the horse sale, the Farm Credit Services horse sale went from being at the monument down to the
with
event
people
center.
hanging from the rafters, literally.
Yeah, I mean,
there was not room for.
It was jammed.
Did you ever sell seats at that?
No,
I think it was conversation.
we did sell chairs right along the ringside, and so they're a $5 chair.
Yeah,
well, you could have sold them for $25 because everybody wanted
the demand was there.
Yeah. But moving that down, there was a lot of discussion from both the Cinch Trade Show vendors and the monument staff, Suttons, and we're nervous about what are we going to do? Can we get them to come to the horse sale and still get that traffic up here? And really what it's done is it's just exploded.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is absolutely yes. It was cumbersome because we'd come down and preview the horses down at the event center. And as soon as you get done previewing your horse, you had to go out and load it back in the trailer, haul it up to the event center or up to the monument, drop it off, go park your truck and trailer, come back over, try to market your horse to whoever's standing in the line. They might still be watching a horse back over at the preview. Having it all in one location just really was the answer to make that event fly. And we were trying to approach $1 million sale. And in just
check
that
box.
Just a few short years, we're 2.2, 2.3, pushing $2.5 million sale. And it's a good move for not only the horse sale and the people that were consigning and coming to watch, but it was a good deal for the entire event because it just brought that many more people that weren't going to stand in the wings when they were standing down at the Rushmore Hall.
And opened up some trade show space out to the event center as well there on the north wall, I guess.
Made the event center it's really a great complement to the event.
Now the Stallion Row is down there as well on the east end.
Hutchinson Western's got a Stallion Row, and we've got a full load coming in for that. Horse sale's a little bit different this year. We took a few less horses. We kind of held back on some of the ponies, and we held back on some of the prospect horses. Still have some in every category.
Yeah.
But we really wanted to get those finished ranch horses is where our big part of our market is, and we give them more time to showcase, more time to be presented, and we think we'll just, the money's still in the room. We think it'll do well.
So there's a selection committee for that horse sale?
There is.
And that's separate of the board, though. There's a committee for the horse sales.
Almost every committee we have has people from outside of the board.
Yeah.
And again, we've got a couple people with horse skills, but we go out and find the people to come back in and bring them on. Megan McPherson, I'm just going to mention her name. She comes back out and helps us every year. She does a lot of barrel racing, so very savvy, a lot of connection in the horse world.
Yeah.
So great person to have. Seth Weishar's helped us with that. Just a number of people that come back in and help us put that together by committee.
Yeah. Wise choice. So that starts on Friday the 31st, right?
That's our first event, Friday the 31st, and we did make a couple of changes there. We moved the sorting event, or our Merc Stray Gathering. We'd been doing that on Saturday night. We moved that to Friday night so that after that first day of sale, anybody that's still got a sale horse up for Saturday, they can enter that Stray Gathering, show the horse off one more time before it goes into the sale on Saturday. And then on Saturday, to replace the Stray Gathering on that night, we're bringing a new event. It's Bullfighters only.
Okay.
So that one is a ticketed event, but it's a great event. If you've ever gone on YouTube to watch it or Googled it and looked it up, it's straight bullfighting with Mexican bulls, and we'll shrink the arena for that event, but it's 90 seconds. Those bullfighters go out there and they try to do everything they can, barrel roll and flips and just any amount of contact they can have with the bull for scores. We'll do 12 people to start. We'll bring back with the top 4 and do the finals, and it should be a fantastic and exciting event.
Is it too late for me to enter that?
Yeah, I can get you in for sure.
Well, I need to get on my aerobic here real quick if I'm going to run for 90 seconds. All right, so after Saturday, then we moved Where do we get to Sunday?
Well, I should hit the Sutton Rodeo is also on that.
That's great. Yep.
Yeah, on that Friday night. That's their Extreme Bulls.
Yep.
In the in the Summit Arena up at the Monument. So, for everybody listening, if you're familiar, we've got two locations. We've got the Monument, which is the former Rushmore Plaza Civic Center, and then we've got the fairgrounds where the James Kerr State Event Center is, and events going on both places all day long. So. The shopping alone is a full day experience, but both those things. And so they've got the Extreme Bulls on Friday night, and then on Saturday night they do the Extreme Broncs at the Summit Arena for Sutton Rodeo. So great events, great activities every day.
And then Sunday
Sunday we kick off with a jackpot team roping, and just a lot of people here that are in the roping world, and of course we sent one to the NFR this year, so that was exciting to watch. But we've got a jackpot team roping that day. Starts right off the bat on Sunday morning. We start with 9 o'clock, enter at 9 and rope at 10 at the James Kerr State Event Center. And then, of course, there's a college fair that happens that day. Cowboy Church, both at the Monument and also at the Nerdy Nuts building. You can see Reba McIntyre. It's not Reba McIntyre.
Susie McIntyre.
It's Susie McIntyre and Mark Eaton. They'll be at the Monument as they've been before at the theater. But friends of Jim Hunt, Steve Friskup, who's also our auctioneer, horse auctioneer, great guy, and Tracy Bauer are going to be
Tracy Buer.
Excuse me. They're going to be at the Nerdy Nuts building also at 10 o'clock. So you got a chance to go to church service, Cowboy Church, either place. Should be really good. And then one of the things that we do, that's the 20X Rodeo we talked about. Great event, and that'll take place at 1 o'clock that Sunday. And then we've also got the Black Hills Stock Show Bid Calling Championships.
Okay.
And it's the the South Dakota State Fair does the South Dakota Bid Calling Championship, so it's auctioneers from all over. We draw from 5 states. We'll have auctioneers that come back in and compete at this. They'll be judged by other auctioneers on their how they sell their item, what their chant is like, and they're judged by their peers. And then we'll bring the top 5 or 6 come back in and compete for the finals. So a great deal, and it's a public auction. It's designed to be. They're bringing 3 items each to be sold for part of the public auction, and in the finals, the Central States Fair Foundation brings items, and it could be anything from autographed guitar to items that came from vendors to jewelry to almost anything that'll get set up out here, and then the finalist will sell those items to benefit the foundation and help select a winner.
Oh, 2 wins there then.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
Good.
And Monday, Hubbard Feed Supreme Row kicks rolling. I should mention also that first weekend, that's also our youth cattle shows, both on Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
And that's one of the things when we were able to the Summit Arena allowed us to have Barnett Arena. Sutton's have one half where they do the warm-up arena. We've got the other half where we do a couple things. We do our youth livestock shows. We do the ribbon cutting and the celebrity showmanship. If you you got an advantage of being in the showmanship. But and then we do. I think you're hosting the town hall with
Correct.
Justin Tupper, right?
Yep.
And
That's
Trent
right.
Luce coming in on that Tuesday. 2
That
o'clock.
is correct.
Yeah, so other things in here, but the first weekend it's youth livestock, and then the last weekend it's youth sheep and goats. So, but on Monday that Hubbard Feed Supreme Row kicks off, and we started off with Angus. Both Angus and Charlie will be in the building. They show it at 9 and they sell at 1, and always a good strong breed to kick things off. And
meanwhile, Slack was running in the other arena, so that's a busy place.
yeah, one of the things that they added to Slack this year is they added permit riding for
bronc riding,
broncs and barebacks.
Yeah.
And so it's a chance for Suttons to have some horses they get out and get some scores on, and it's a chance for some of our permit guys to go out and get on, get more practice, compete, and not have to beat, the top guys in the NFR coming back in here to maybe see if you can't scratch out a single ride to make it work. This is a chance for the permit guys to get in here and get a chance to earn a little pocket money, build up a little cash fill the card, get a chance to pocket some money and get on the road. And of course, I'm just going to hit the Hubbard feeds all at once because the Supreme Row deal, we've got 9 breeds of cattle, and it just runs, it starts with Angus. Then Tuesday we jump over and we hit the Charlet. Wednesday we come back in and we have the Hereford and then the Shorthorns. Thursday we've got the Red Angus and the Galvey. Friday we got the Limousines and the Maines, and then Saturday the Simmentals. And all that leads to the real focus of what the stock show started to, and that's the Hubbard Feed Supreme Row. And the selection. And I've heard many of these consigners tell you that it's harder to win the Black Hills Stock Show than it is to win in many of the other big shows.
Yeah.
And the reason is you not only have to compete and win within your breed, but then you'll go against all 9 breeds to win. So
the supreme.
You got to be dialed in. You got to be dialed in here, and a great chance for our commercial cattlemen to come out and get to meet some of these producers and take a look at what they brought to the sale and find out about their ranch sales whenever they have those.
Yeah. That gets us up to Tuesday, which is a pretty long day.
Tuesday's a big day. Lots of stuff going on. And, of course, the big event for us is the Ranch Rodeo.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool deal. It's still probably one of the most popular events in the entire Black Hills Stock Show. But it's really a chance where lots of rural people come back. And we talked a little bit about your dad.
Yep. He likes to show up and see people he knows do what they enjoy, and that's what the Ranch Rodeo is all about. Watching these guys from, I would say, local cowboys, but I'd be lying because they're from 5 states, I think, that enter the Ranch Rodeo now, starting with prelims out there. I don't know what
10
time it
o'clock
is.
in the morning.
10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, with 12 teams trying to make the short round that night, and one of the biggest Calcuttas you'll get into. So.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a huge night, or huge day with a great night.
And you were on the Ranch Rodeo team a few times.
Well, I don't like to brag, but I will. Yeah, we had success back when I was about 30 years younger, in my early 20s. From a Ranch Rodeo bronc riding champion, I will put that feather back in my cap one time. But we didn't have to ride birch horses back then, so I'll also acknowledge that. It was maybe a different game they're playing today than. And speaking of bronc riding and breaking into Wednesday.
Yep, man, oh man, this is an event. We talked about this.
Now, do we have to brag on Kevin Schmidt just a little for this?
We do have to
Dang
brag
it!
on Kevin Schmidt.
I don't want to, but okay, we will.
So we started out producing a bronc match event Wednesday nights. And the arena was dark. It was available. We had the Stockman's Banquet and Ball used to be on that Wednesday. We moved it to a weekend to try to accommodate people. But Wednesday night was empty.
Yeah.
So we'd put in a match bronc ride and ran that for a few years. And then when Extreme Broncs came out of the gate, Sutton's had that night for their Extreme Broncs. So we didn't want to have broncs on top of broncs. So we were thinking about what are we going to do. The event was good. We liked it, but we didn't really have a solution.
Yeah.
No other nights available. And Kevin Schmidt, his dad, Schmitty, lived in the fairgrounds for years. Kevin's been a friend of the fair for basically his whole life.
Yeah.
And Kevin came into me the next morning. Of course, he helped us produce the Ranch Rodeo. And he came into me and he said, Ron, we've got all those cowboys in town for the Ranch Rodeo. Why don't we just get them up the next morning and have a bronc match and call it Broncs for Breakfast?
And the one time in his life, that Kevin was right. That was it.
He was so right. And I had this conversation with Dean Kinney about it, and he said, we started out with that maybe it's going to be a novelty. We don't know what's going to happen, but man, it's grown into one of the most watched events that we host. I mean, it's super exciting. We get like 32 riders come back in, and they are scrappy every which direction.
Full confession, when we sponsor the event, when we were first approached about the sponsorship, I was kind of hesitant because, like you say, you didn't know if you're going to get 30 people to come watch, but it's probably the favorite thing that we sponsor for me because the turnout is fantastic. The crowd is Western South Dakota. I don't know if any cows get fed in Western South Dakota that day or not.
That morning.
Most of the people are at the Ranch Rodeo, at the bronc riding, and those are some pretty hardy souls that strap themselves onto those broncs that morning.
Oh, yeah.
They're rank.
But it's old school. It's a stock saddle and just get after it. But you not only sponsor the event, but you provide breakfast for everybody, right? Kick
we do
things off.
The biscuits and gravy, I think, starting at 8 o'clock. So we get everybody a belly full of biscuits and gravy to soak up the night before, and then we start doing it again and watching more bronc riding that day. And then that's a very fun event and a very well-attended event. Some of the hardest seats in town to get, I think, anymore.
I think they are. The event itself, just from taking off 10 years ago, as we mentioned, this is the 10th anniversary, and it just continues to grow every single year. Just more and more people find out about it. I even heard Lori Jeffrey Kirk's going to make it this year.
Anything else on Wednesday that we need to?
Wednesday's a great day. We're going to have fun with that. We roll into Thursday, and that's when the rodeos start back up for Sutton Rodeos. And, of course, they've got rodeo that's going to be 7:30 on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday they've got a 1:30 and a 7:30 performance, all that Rodeo Rapid City. And, they do that in the Summit Arena. I don't know if you've been there yet for a rodeo, but, man, the lighting package in that facility, it's just the amount of production you can put into it is fantastic.
Yeah, the upgrades there were worthwhile. It's a fun place to watch one.
It's very cool. And, of course, out at the we're still showing cattle. We're still showing cattle every single day here, but our nighttime entertainment for that is the Jackson Dean with special guest Bart Crow are coming into the James Kerstead Event Center. Should be a great concert night that night. And, I've got lots and lots of people who just talk to me about, really, we come for the shopping. My brother and sister-in-law, not a Western bone in his body, but great guy. And he comes back out and said, yeah, we're here because my wife loves to shop every year. So since Trade Joe kicks it off every day.
There's a lot of square footage dedicated to shopping out here for dang shares.
That's for sure. I was just down to the NFR this year and went shopping. They've got several different casinos, large venues that have shopping. And really, going from venue to venue, I think you can compete relatively well with what we have to offer here at the monument for trade shows.
I agree 100% with that.
Just great stuff available.
I walk through the trade show infrequently because I don't care for crowds a whole lot, but the great thing about it is you'll see Jerry Galloway, Bits and Spurs. Jerry and I have been friends for decades, and I get to see him here every year, and just some of those contacts you have. Denver Gilbert and I were talking about a couple of years ago. There's some people you only see once a year here at the stock show, and it's usually walking through the trade show, bump into somebody you haven't seen, but for a year ago.
Except the last stock show, and that's why the stock show is placed right here at the end of January. All the farming and ranching duties, all the harvest is done, and we're just about at calving time. So it just drops right in this little window where only the early ones are on the ground, but everybody else is going to have their last vacation, their last bit of fun, and then it's back to the calving shed. So, yeah. And then Friday night we've got another concert. We've got it's a Wyoming cowboy just making his way up and just really hitting his stride here. Ian Munsick.
He might already be up. He's getting pretty popular.
He is up. Yeah. He's hitting the top rung of the music industry right now, and he's got a special guest, Colby Acuff. And you might not have heard with Colby Acuff before. Pull him up.
Yeah. I have not, but I will.
Fantastic music. Just a great job. That's going to be a great show too.
Then we get into the weekend, huh?
We do. I want to mention one other thing on that Friday. We have the Alpine Ponderosa room upstairs of Rushmore Hall that is dedicated to Western art. And I mean some fantastic Western artists in here. Obviously, they're selling their art, and it's part of their show. But they also do a quick draw competition.
Yes.
And they've got basically 90 minutes to completely produce a piece. And then we bring it back out, it's judged, and then we sell them and have an auction. And those funds, again, go back to the Central States Fair Foundation as one of the fundraisers as they do. And it's a really cool chance for people to come back out and get an original piece of art from some of their artists. And the display in there is literally fascinating.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have watched that before, and it is really neat. There's some unique stuff comes out of there, and people with creativity absolutely amaze me because I have zero, and watching them whip something out in 90 minutes is pretty darn cool.
You know what's crazy about that? I watch where their pen or their brush or whatever medium they're using, I watch where the lines go, and I go, I could make that line. But I just couldn't make a bunch of them
all
in a
go
row.
together. Yeah.
But really some fantastic artists and a great stop, and really does add an element to the show that's well appreciated by many.
Yeah.
And the Saturday, that's our Hubbard Feed Supreme Row. It's the last night of the rodeo. It's the last crowning of the champion for the Hubbard Feed Supreme Row. And we close things out down at the fairgrounds. And we've got the Boots and Beer Festival. And it's a beer sampling. A lot of the brewers come back out and put their product out. And it's a ticket event. You just go back in. Must be 21 to get into that one. But it's go back out and sample the beer. Just a giant beer fest. And rodeo action, beer fest, and then it's get ready for the next year.
And Sunday you take a 2-hour nap. You're ready to go.
I can tell you that my staff and I, many of us, have missed the Super Bowl. We started watching it, but we fell asleep in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well, please believe me when I say this. Ron brought me the full schedule of events, and I think you did a great job of touching on quite a bit of it, but you didn't scratch the surface of everything that's going on through here. So if you are 6 years old, 60 years old, or somewhere in between. There's something for everybody. And then
That's right. Petting zoos, world's smallest rodeo. There's all kinds of activities going on. College fairs, job fair. We've got a job fair on that Monday from 1 to 6. Just open for anybody that's looking. And we've got a number of different employers coming back out just wanting to meet people. But great activities.
So you've been doing this for how many years now yourself?
28. So I have to tell a quick story. Yesterday was my wife's birthday.
Yep.
And normally this is the day, that was the day we would move down to the monument with our office. So all the office staff moved down and get their office set up.
Yep.
So on her birthday for 27 years, we haven't been able to celebrate.
You're such a romantic.
Yeah, I know. She is such a kind woman. but
Really outkicked your coverage there, Ron. But.
So yesterday I said, hey, honey, the stock show is a week later, so we're not moving on your birth date. And she goes, awesome. I said, but there is a chamber mixer at Home Slice, and we're going to the Elevate mixer for Home Slice for your birthday, and had a great time.
Awesome. So in 28 years, I think is what you said. What's the craziest story that you can share?
Oh
with
man,
us?
I got a lot of them I can't tell you, But I mean, we've had about everything. We've had from the lost child deal. We probably have more youth jackets stashed away in our closet. We pull them out after every youth rodeo, saying, "Anybody claim these?" We don't even care if they get to their owners anymore. We just need to get them moved somewhere. But I think probably the best things that we've come across is all relationships.
Yeah.
It's just amazing the number of people that you have worked with over years, and we've got relations with vendors and with cattle producers and with horse producers and ranch people that are coming back in and come to the show and come every year after year. This is the vacation. This is the winter getaway that makes the Black Hills Stock Show such a great event.
Being the hinge point for that's got to be pretty cool.
It is. It really is neat. That's probably the biggest. And I do know one other point that I wanted to make was that a lot of times people are trying to figure out how do you get tickets, where do you go. Everything is available if you go to blackhillsstockshow.com, all written out. Now watch, because as every ticketing event out there has a bunch of fakes that pop up, and they'll say Black Hills Stock Show, Rodeo, tickets.com, and that's not us. It's just a straight up come back in. If you don't get to our website, you're at the wrong spot, right? But don't buy them through third party. It's
blackhillsstockshow.com.
You bet. So
written out. Yep. Great deal, Ron. Thank you for your time. I hope we touched on most of the highlights. We couldn't get them all, but we got quite a few of them.
We could go on for days, but why don't you just come on down and experience it?
By golly, I will. And good luck for the next several weeks of your life. I appreciate your commitment to it and putting on a heck of a show.
Thanks, Clay. Glad to be here.